Hi there, I'm Lindsay Mingy, commercial real estate broker. My short video for you today is for landlords of commercial properties, office, industrial, and retail, whose tenants are perhaps saying that they cannot or will not pay their rent because of COVID shutdown. So, what is a commercial landlord to do? I've been talking to a lot of you all over the country in the last several days, and I wanted to share a couple of things that I hope you will find helpful. First of all, the F word. We've all become way too familiar with it in the last few days, and that is force majeure. What does it mean? The term itself means an unforeseeable event or greater force that could keep somebody from fulfilling their contractual obligation, like pay rent. But what a lot of commercial landlords and tenants have discovered in the last few days is that many commercial lease agreements include a clause that obligates tenants to continue to pay rent despite unforeseen circumstances, including natural disasters or acts of God, that those things do not necessarily relieve tenants of their obligation to pay rent. And that's why some states and local governments have stepped in and uh, instituted things to help the tenants, basically mandating that landlords cannot commence eviction proceedings during the shutdown and things like that. But it is important for landlords and tenants to know that despite these mandates, that does not relieve a tenant of the contractual obligation to pay rent. The states aren't saying, okay, tenants, you don't have to pay rent. All they're saying is a landlord cannot evict you during a determined amount of time. When that time expires, landlords will and should have the right to commence eviction proceedings if they find necessary. But all that said, many of the landlords I talk to want to help their tenants during this time. We all benefit when a tenant can stay in business, pay their rent, and stay in their space. So, if you're a commercial landlord, what should you be doing? How should you be responding during this time? I'm advising all of my clients that communication and transparency is of the utmost importance. If your tenants have not paid rent for April, reach out to them directly and ask them why. They need to be transparent with you also. How brutally has their business been affected? When do they think that relief will come? Have they applied for these historically significant grants and loan programs available to small businesses to help them pay rent and stay in business? Um, Many of the landlords I represent are asking their tenants these questions through a more formal process, like a tenant survey, or tenants who have contacted them for rent relief. Landlords are asking the tenant to put in writing a formal request for the rent relief. Again, answering those questions, describing how COVID shutdown has impacted their business, confirming yes or no that they have applied for grants and loans, a plan in place, what type of rent relief are they seeking and for how long. Um, Again, transparency is key here. And then from there, my landlords are approaching it in a handful of creative ways. Some of my landlords are agreeing to waive rent for the month of April with the plan to reassess in May, taking it 30 days at a time. I have other landlords who have agreed to let their tenants pay half rent in April and half rent in May until we all get back on our feet. Some landlords are structuring payment plans for their tenants so that their tenants have the option to pay back the rent that is being abated in the short term, making small payments over the remaining months of their lease term. And then some landlords are just extending the lease term by the number of months that the tenant is seeking rent relief for in the short term. So, look, I know that every circumstance is different. And because I work with landlords all over the country, I recognize that every property owner is also in their own unique financial situation. So there's not really a one solution fits all, but it's important to talk to a trusted commercial real estate advisor who can help you work through what your property is experiencing. And look, we are all in this together. It's not a landlord versus tenant market. Um, we can figure out solutions together so that we all can get back to business as usual as soon as possible. So whether you're a landlord or a tenant, you can contact me and discuss with me your unique circumstances, and I will gladly share with you the insight that I've gained from talking to landlords and tenants over the last many weeks, let you know what I'm seeing and hearing out there. Please use me as a resource, and please, please stay healthy.